to de-radicalization in Pakistan in the backdrop of regional security complexes and the persistence of violence. And we have the panelists, the very honorable panelists. We have Professor Dr. Tarunjit Singh, Professor Dr. Rehana, Saeed, Hashmi.
Sir Khawar, sorry for interruption. Students are requested to be seated, please. This session is for you. This will be a highly fruitful discussion on community-led approach, so be seated, please. Thank you.
We have the panelists, Dr. Tarunjit Singh, Dr. Rehana, Saeed Hashmi, Mr. Muhammad Rafique Tahir, Barrister Amir Hassan, Brigadier Sikandar, Hayat Chaudhary, and Dr. Sara Jaffri. I think that Brigadier Sikandar Hayat is not available here today. Okay. So, as we all know that during the discussion of the Honorable Professor Dr. Hussain Mahiuddin Qadri and the other keynote speakers like Professor Dr. Khurshid Ahmed Nadeem and the Chairman HEC, Professor Dr. Niyaz Akhtar, they all highlighted the significance of religion and the life of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as well as the teachings of the Quran and theology for de-radicalization guidance in the life, in the society, and in the countries. So, our first panelist, Dr. Tarunjit Singh, Butalia, his topic is the role of faith communities in preventing religious extremism and promoting social harmony. So, with reference to this theme, I would like to request him to please dilate upon what practical role should people of faith, religious leaders, and community institutions play in preventing the misuse of religion by extremist groups, and how can interfaith cooperation and ethical religious education and community engagement help addressing rising challenges of radicalization, sectarianism, online hate speech, and social polarization in Pakistan, keeping in view the false narratives, like the false narrative of Al-Wala wal-Bara was falsely implicated by Zarqawi, and then we have to devise our own narrative of Paigam-e Pakistan, keeping in view all these false narratives and counter-narrative of Pakistan. Please dilate upon the topic. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Professor Tarunjit Singh Butalia.
Thank you ਜੀ ਜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਆਈ ਕੀਪ ਗੈਟਿੰਗ ਇਨਵਾਈਟਡ ਬੈਕ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਐਵਰੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਆਈ ਕਮ ਹੇਅਰ ਇਟ ਫੀਲਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਆਮ ਕਮਿੰਗ ਹੋਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸਕੂਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਮਿਨਹਾਜ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਆ ਕੇ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਜੀ ਲਾਸਟ ਸੈਟਰਡੇ ਐਜ਼ US citizen I had a ticket booked from Delhi to Lahore through Colombo, and as I went through the immigration desk, the person on the right side asked me कि आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? I just very slowly said Lahore. The person next to him says Lahore जा रहे हैं आप? मैं कहते बंब दा गोला पैंदा उथे. This is real. Mean ਜਿਹੜੀ perception है ना पाक इतनी negative है. And I was taken aback. Ji, आज we want to talk about, how to deal with terrorism and other issues, extremism. ਉਹਦੇ ਜੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਾਦਰੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ religion is not the only lens. There is a political alienation, nationalism ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, geopolitical factors ਹੈ, cross-border interference ਹੈ, and socio-economic disputes. So religion is a small component of the overall problem. Look at the back. Is the word religion anywhere? No. But all we are talking about is religion. Now, religion, and some of you who've heard me before have said this, religion is not the cause of violence. Religious people are the cause of violence. Hanji? So we have to deal with religious people. One of the challenges I find, and this is with a lot of religious people who get radicalized, is they take the religion too literally but do not take it seriously. I'll say it again. And terrorism is not an Islamic problem alone. In every major religion of the world, terrorism thrives. We need to change the mindset where people of faith will take religion seriously but not literally. Many of us believe that there is only one God, Rabb Ekko hi hai, And one example I'll give you is your wheel of a bicycle. Center जो spoke है, ते असी सारे, as we are all trying to get to the same God, don't you think we should get closer to each other? Otherwise, we believe in different gods. We believe in one God. As we get toward the one God, we have to get closer to each other. One thing that we have as people of faith to fight against is all our religions call upon us to be righteous, but none of them tell us to be self-righteous. Self-righteous, I mean, is for me to be right, you have to be wrong. Oh, attitude jehdi hegi hai, we have to be able to change. I also want to touch upon one last thing, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਇੱਕ ਥਿਊਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਦਰਮਿਆਨਿਆ ਥਿਊਰੀ, ਐਵਰੇਜ ਥਿਊਰੀ। ਉਹ ਇਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਲੰਬਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾ ਗਿੱਠਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਦਰਮਿਆਨਿਆ ਚ ਹੋਵੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਰਗਾ, ਨਾ ਮੋਟਾ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਪਤਲਾ ਹੋ, ਦਰਮਿਆਨਿਆ ਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਰਗਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਮਜ਼ਹਬੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਜ਼ਹਬੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਕੱਟੜ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਮਜ਼ਹਬੀ ਹੈ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਾਈਂਡਸੈਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਊ ਆਫ ਮਜ਼ਹਬ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਕੌਨਫਲਿਕਟ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਓਪੀਨੀਅਨ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ, ਐਂਡ ਆਈ ਐਮ ਗਿਵਿੰਗ ਇਨਫ ਟਾਈਮ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਏ।
Thank you very much, Dr. Butalia. We have next Dr. Rehana Saeed Hashmi. And Dr. Rehana, what are the international best practices? I would like to request you with reference to this point of view, but keeping in view this question, I would just dilate upon that Saudi Arabia, Singapore, and Indonesia highlighted the importance of religious counseling, psychological support, vocational training, and reintegration programs to prevent violent extremism in the society. And keeping in view all these strategies, Punjab Center of Excellence on Countering Violent Extremism has also played a significant role regarding the policy dialogues, interfaith dialogues, policy recommendations, and community-based initiatives to counter the cyber-radicalization and sectarianism in the society. So my specific question would be, which international de-radicalization strategies have proven to be the most effective in countering violent extremism in the perspective of Pakistan and other regional areas to address emerging security challenges of cyber radicalization, sectarianism, and social polarization? Over to Dr. Rehana Saiba.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. As far as my answer is concerned, I will agree on one thing and I will disagree on another thing. One thing that yes, within this regional complex, one state's security, one state's stability is also dependent on another state, yes. Because if one state is politically unstable, then somehow the other, within the region, that will influence the other state as well. But as far as this mayor is concerned, that which strategy of which state is successful and would be successful for Pakistan, I will disagree with this, because Pakistan is a very, I will say that just because of this region, that this is a very unique as far as the geographical placement of Pakistan is concerned, as far as the internal dynamics of Pakistan is concerned, which are mostly relying on heterogeneity. So we have religious and sectarian heterogeneity, we have ethno-national heterogeneity, we have different types of urban-rural differences. So keeping in mind all these things, one state strategy we cannot fit in on Pakistan. So for Pakistan, I will suggest that we actually need tailor-made strategies for Pakistan. We do not want to involve fit in all strategies just because of these unique variables which Pakistan have. So I will say that as far as Dr. Khurshid Nadeem has concerned, he very properly explained in his discussions that Pakistan is facing at this time the political radicalization and religious and sectarian radicalization. And obviously, as far as the political and sectarian and religious radicalizations are concerned, the fundamental variables are that the political radicalization in Pakistan is thoroughly based on the concept of, number one, plurality, because we have acute political polarization at this time. Number two, we have acute legitimacy issue at this time, because political radicalization emerges when people shows their distrust on democratic institution. And the religious radicalization and sectarian radicalization emerges when people shows hate-based narrative, sectarian hate-based narrative, and the interpretation of the religious dogmas and religious narratives. And then the third thing is the mobilization of these narratives. So apart from these two things, the third one is, which is the ethno-national radicalization, that also creates a very important phenomena in Pakistan, because we have seen that KP's dynamics are different to Balochistan. Sindh's dynamics are different to Punjab. So we need tailor-made strategy for Punjab, for Sindh, for KP, for Balochistan. And the most important thing is, that is the contemporary phenomena relevant to all these things, that is the hybrid radicalization, and that is based on the concept of radicalization that is contemporary and that is relevant to technology, because at this time we have so many technological platforms relevant to social media, and through those platforms the youth is being radicalized. So it means that we have to make two types of strategies. Number one, the long-term strategy to counter for de-radicalization, and second, the long-term sustainable strategies. For short-term, I will prefer that our focus should be on one thing that would create unity in diversity, that within this diversified elements, how we have to create unity. And obviously, education is one very common element on which the chairman, HEC, and Khurshid Nadeem and all other participants, they focused on. Dr. Khurshid Nadeem says that I don't think that the universities are working too much on counter-terrorism and on this very much issues. But sir, with my humble submission is that I found that there is a huge gap between industry, academia linkages. We do research. I will say that my own research is published from University of Vienna last week. That book is out, and in which the title of that book is When Faith Kills, Understanding Religious Extremism, and in which I have presented Pakistan, that Pakistan is navigating through different types of strategies, but why the strategies are not being very efficient, because these are the reason. But I don't think so that any person related to industry or related to government would give any heed to it, because there is a gap. The second thing is that students are also working on it. My student is working on a very important theme of countering violent extremism, that is early warning system. And this is, sir, the second important thing on which I do believe in, that we should work on sustainable patterns. Because very often, the intelligence agencies, the law and order agencies, they became efficient and they do work when the violence occurred. On sustainable grounds, we should focus on those elements before occurrence of the violence. So how to develop the early warning system? And that early warning system is fundamentally indebted with the community-led approaches. And these community-led approaches are very sensitive in it, because I just want to give you an incident in which I was the part of that, because a year back, I had experience to attend a funeral in a rural area. And during the funeral, I saw that they called some people for the dua to the departed soul. But during that session, I observed that the person who was making dua was only calling upon the one sect, one group. And the narrative and the judgment she was creating was that all others are less Muslims and only the followers of these, they are good Muslims and they are the true Muslims. This is actually the early warning, because from that side within the community, they are actually creating, they are building the narrative between us and them, you and me. And this early warning system, when the government would work on it, they will actually give the idea that we have to minimize these baselines, which actually tries to create the seeds of radicalization and extremism. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rehana Saeed Hashmi. She was dilating upon the unique and heterogeneous structure of Pakistan, and tailor-made strategies are required for this purpose. One-size-fits-all model is not suitable for Pakistan, and interpretation of narratives was also highlighted during her talk, and she also suggested long-term and short-term policies through education. Thank you very much, Dr. Rehana. Our next panelist is Dr. Sara Jaffri. She is Associate Professor of the Department of Sociology, Forman Christian College, University. Before inviting her talk, I would like to just comment that social policy interventions are much more interested area of de-radicalization and rehabilitation. Punjab Center of Excellence on Countering Violent Extremism is going to launch a very serious campaign with reference to de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration into the 45 jails of the Punjab. And we have a mandate to de-radicalize, rehabilitate 70,000 prisoners inside the jail. And then we have to rehabilitate the youth of Pakistan, the 64% youth, through skill development. We have also the mandate of rehabilitating and de-radicalizing and reintegrating the women, 52% women of Pakistan. So there is a huge mandate of de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration of all these models, and especially not lost but the least the Schedule 4 persons. We have also to de-radicalize them as well. So keeping in view all these models, the government of the Punjab launched a campaign on social policy interventions as well, and then ulama karam and aima karam of religious society were also involved in this whole campaign, and we have now almost 70,000 aima karam on our panel. They are taking lead in this whole program in the society. As a first step, anti-narcotics campaign and out-of-school children campaign had also been launched through these aima karam. So social policy interventions have a very significant and pivotal role in reforming the society, keeping in view these significance of policy interventions to mitigate the hybrid threats and counter-terrorism in Pakistan. My question to Dr. Sara Jaffri is regarding the model and framework from governance reforms and youth inclusion to digital literacy, community engagement, rehabilitation at risk individuals, and strengthening institutions, how Pakistan effectively integrate these social policy interventions into a coordinated national counter-terrorism policy and hybrid threat strategy. Over to Dr. Sara Jaffri.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me? So I think I'm second last, and I'm always happy to go nearly last on a panel because I've heard everybody else's points, and now I have to sift through and say something that you haven't heard before. I'll just try to stress a little bit about the rehabilitation concept, because this is part of the preventive framework that the previous panelists just talked about. It's not about just those who've participated in extremism, but one of the points that I'm going to be talking about is that 6 years ago in my book I recommended this, that we need rehabilitation and reintegration, not just of people who've already been part of extremism or radicalization, but those who have been highlighted as potential perpetrators in our society. And the only way this is really, and a lot of people have mentioned this, I really like, we've already, when you mentioned framework, I think Dr. Qadri has already given us such a substantial framework. If we're just able to implement that, we would be on our way. I'll make another point. I'll disagree a little bit about what other people have already spoken, that we can't highlight differences in religion. This is never possible. We have different ethnicities. Those ethnicities have different cultural beliefs. We have different religious groups in Pakistan. We have people speaking multiple languages, and this is the problem that we had with Pakistan and Bangladesh. If we say one language is better and we say one religion is better, no, that's the point, that we should be able to understand each other's differences in beliefs. We should be able to respect them, and then we move forward. So if somebody invites me to their funeral and their religious leader wants to talk about how they believe, they want to highlight their religious differences, that shouldn't be the problem. But I do agree with you that it is a problem if they are pushing the narrative that we are the ones who are going to get into heaven, because we have no idea about God's judgment. So this is fine-tuning of our religious curriculum. And this is our responsibility in schools, primary, secondary, tertiary level schooling, and then also the family's responsibility, that we're not able to communicate about religious differences, but then we're also not able to communicate about respect for different religious beliefs or ethnic beliefs. Pakistan is a pluralist society. I heard somebody mention that 99.9% of people are Muslims. No. Pakistan, number one, we have major statistical issues in Pakistan, and I think about 94 to 95% now is probably the more accurate statistic of the Muslim population. So anyway, so we are a religiously pluralistic society and an ethnically very pluralistic society. And I think most of the recommendations that people have mentioned, the key words are community governance, community governance. But our biggest failure in Pakistan is that we don't have local governance. And you cannot have hybrid, do most of you know what hybrid terrorism is? Do you know what it means? So remember when there was colonialism, Pakistan has a colonial legacy, and then we have neo-colonialism. And that is that we're going to try to take over a country through its culture, through its education, through its thought processes, through its ideologies. They're not even going to realize through its economics. And that's a little bit of what hybrid terrorism is. It means that you're going to impose terrorist tactics, but you're going to do it in a way that the citizens are not going to recognize it. And somebody has already mentioned this, that this is happening through digital means. And most of our youth, and us as well, myself as well, those in the Middle Ages, those who are elderly, most of our elders are on smartphone as well and social media apps. A lot of terrorist or anti-state narratives or extremist narratives are coming through to them, and they're absorbing them without even realizing how much intolerance that creates in society. So number one, we need literacy of that. But going back to the local governance model, how do we have community solutions to resolving problems related to terrorism and extremism if we don't have local governance bodies? Because look, we have a wonderful strategy. No social policy, to return to your point, no social policy intervention is possible without intersectoral collaboration. And so for terrorism, we need the family structure to come forward. We need social media to come forward. We need our religious leaders to come forward, licensed, certified religious leaders. We need our community notables to come forward. We need our legal system and our constitution to come forward, and they all need to work consistently together. How is that possible? It can't so it has to happen from a top-down approach, but it has to be supported mainly from the bottom-up approach. Like one of the recommendations in my book was for community health workers to become informers, women to become informers. And I think Dr. Qadri already mentioned that. I was so happy. They are the chief informers of people who are at risk for participating in terrorist activities or even extremist activities. But when our community health model is such that one lady health worker is responding to 10,000 people or 1,000 people in the community, that is how it is urban to rural. Right, that is how it is urban to rural, then it's not going to work. So we need major investment and major budget allocation, major human resource allocation in our local governance bodies, different bodies that will start supporting us in community support mechanisms and strategies to curtail terrorism and violence or extremism, and to develop preventive strategies and all the things that everybody has mentioned. So local governance is the key over here. Otherwise, we won't have top structural bodies being efficient at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, very much. Now, our last panelist, Sir Muhammad Rafique Tahir. He is senior educationist, policy expert, and former head of National Curriculum Council, Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training. My specific question to His Good Honor is regarding the curriculum reforms, as the curriculums play a significant role by integrating the values of critical thinking, tolerance, civic responsibility, and interfaith harmony into education content, curricula. So I would request him to dilate upon how do you see curriculum reforms contributing as a practical tool for de-radicalization at the community level, and what specific challenges would you suggest to make the education system more effective in promoting peace, tolerance, and resilience against extremist narratives? Muhammad Rafique Tahir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This question need at least at least I have to speak for 1 hour. Then I will be able to just give an answer, because when we come on the curriculum, you see the curriculum is basically shapes the mind. It shapes it develops the minds of the people, and it shapes our minds in the way that how will be the nation, how will be the society. Unfortunately, this issue you see the so many approaches, which is much of them is the short term, some of the medium term to address this issue, but unfortunately no sustainable and the long term strategy or the approach was adopted in the country. If you see the last curriculum from last 30 years, so I'm there and I was headed this National Curriculum of Pakistan for more than 11 years. I will speak truth. There is nothing to address this issue in a very, very scientific form. It's just here and there few topics, and another unfortunate is there are certain things which can address this issue effectively, but it is only in the curriculum, and curriculum doesn't go to the hands of the students. That the curriculum must be translated in the textbooks, which normally the student come across. But even if it's in the textbooks, then the teacher doesn't know how to teach that. And if even you have some training of the teacher that how to teach this curriculum, how to frame, how to develop the minds of the youngs of the school and the colleges, but they doesn't know how to assess them. So unfortunately, there is a disconnect. We have the curriculum not translated in the textbooks. If in the textbooks, we didn't have any approach to just train the teacher to deliver in the classroom properly, so that what the objective of the curriculum is there to be met. But unfortunately, so I have so many things which is written. I'll give to them just to incorporate in the recommendation of this policy recommendation. But the most important thing, we have a sustainable and long-term solution of this problem. Dr. Chaudhary has a lot of things in the framework, but my opinion is that we focus at the national level to reframe the curriculum from pre-1 to even the university level. And every level, we must address this issue as per the age appropriation and as per the level appropriation. We should not give so many things in grade 1 and very few things in grade 10. Let's make a proper approach, how the way that we develop the curriculum. Otherwise, so many things, short term, long term, yes, thing will happen, but no permanent solution will come out if we are not addressing the curriculum reforms in a scientific manner from very school level and to the university level. And secondly, my 2-3 just the summary things that curriculum reform and with specific reference to the peace education, critical thinking, blah, blah, all these things are already discussed. Then we have to focus on the higher education as a counter, not the only the higher education, not only focus on the curriculum development and reforms, but counter redesigning the whole system of the higher education, where the youth need to be part of the solution, not the part of the problems. How that could be done. And third is the community engagement. Your community engagement through schools, with the parental engagement. So this is again the requirement. Otherwise, simple curriculum, textbooks, law enforcement agencies, all they are working. But if the community is not involved, you cannot get that desired result which is required. So youth empowerment and reintegrations, all these things are there. But simply, we have the very well thought reforms in the curriculum of Pakistan. And that will be a sustainable and a long-term solution to this problem of terrorism and the violent extremism. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now we have entered the last phase of our panel discussion. I would request Professor Dr. Tarunjit Singh Butalia to please have a last comment of recommendations of his viewpoint.
Thank you, Ji.
Very short and brief, please.
Very brief. I'm always briefer than you want,
sir.
always.
Thank you.
Ji, one of the things we also have to recognize that in any conflict, there are many sides to a conflict, and the state also contributes to conflict. And so there has to be a realization within the state that look at its own practices. Of course, we've talked economic factors. Most of these conflicts are political conflicts. Viewing them only through the lens of law and order is a mistake. It has to be done much, much more comprehensively. And the last comment I would make is that unfortunately, and this is true of all of South Asia, not just Pakistan, religious leaders have become subservient to political leadership. And I think that landscape needs to be reclaimed. Religious leaders need to stand with political leaders, but on the side, not behind them. And that is a real moral problem that we have in much of South Asia. So thank you.
Dr. Rehana, Saeed, Hashmi.
Thank you very much, sir. As I was talking about this short-term and long-term sustainable approaches to counter radical element in Pakistan. So my focus is on that there is a weak community participation in all the strategies made by the government, because we have seen that the government has made too many operations, they made too many strategies, but all those counter-terrorism strategies remained ineffective because people are not the part of it. So when they will ensure civic engagement, when they will ensure that youth would not feel isolation within that part, I think so their policies would become successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sara Jaffri.
Okay, so I think we've covered state involvement and then civic and community involvement. So I'll just go back to socio-economic marginalization, something we haven't mentioned. So once we have economic and social participation, equal opportunities for different ethnic, religious, and groups across Pakistan, there would be more nation building and peace building opportunities through other tools like education or legitimate religious leaders coming forward to, even a religious leader, a family member, anybody who speaks to you about balance in society or interfaith harmony or peace building, all counter arguments to extremism, it only works if you're stable socially and economically. So I'll just highlight that, though I still believe in the intersectoral concept model, where a lot of things have to work together. So we've covered 3 and 1 to go.
Okay. Last but not the least, Professor Dr. Muhammad Rafique Tahir Saab. Last comment.
Just sir, only well thought curriculum reforms, not in the modern curricula as well as in the religious curricula is required. That is desired. If we will do that, there will be a sustainable and long-term changes will be we can expect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last we just conclude with the 4 comments of our panelists, and these are with reference to the first suggestion was that religious leaders should not be subservient. They must stand on the side of the political elite with their own viewpoint, and lens must be changed for seeing the problem. Political conflicts must be seen with different lens, not with the law and order. Dr. Rehana Saeed recommended that a weak civic community participation must be replaced with the community engagement of the people, and socio-economic participation and social participation was recommended by Dr. Sara Jaffri, and Professor Dr. Rafique Tahir Saab recommended that national level reforms and long-term solutions are also required for the national strategy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
A huge round of applause to our panelists and the moderator. Now I humbly request Professor Dr. Hussain Mohiuddin Qadri, Professor Dr. Hassan Farooq Mashwani, Lieutenant General Ghulam Mustafa, Professor Dr. Taha Qureshi, and Mr. Shaukat to please join us in front of the stage as we present the token of appreciation to the members of the first panel discussion. Sir, please join us in front of the stage. Professor Dr. Tarunjit Singh Butalia. Sir, please. A huge round of applause. Professor Dr. Rehana Saeed Hashmi. We need more claps. Dr. Sara Jaffri. Mr. Muhammad Rafique Tahir. A huge round of applause. Mr. Muhammad Rafique Tahir. I will request the audience for the claps. And to our moderator, Dr. Ahmad Khawar Shehzad.
I request all the panelists to please join for a group photograph. Dr. Tarunjit Singh, please join for the group photograph. Members of the panel,